Mersen had an opportunity for some pretty extensive growth, and we would need additional buildings and floor space along with some renovations to accommodate our new equipment and our new processes. It was in our market, things tend to change relatively fast. So when we found out about this opportunity, we did go about it how a lot of the other construction projects do, where we come up with a team to develop exactly what we want, and have a packet that we send out to multiple contractors for bids. So we interviewed probably 5 or 6 people, gave them a rough idea we wanted, just get some ballpark numbers, and then met with them to just see how we work with them and what their plans were for how we'd progress with the project. And Serenus Johnson for Mersen has done several buildings. A lot of the buildings on our campus they've been involved with. So we did have a history with them and knew the quality of the work they did. And back when we did those, which was, between 8 and 16, 8 and 20 years ago, they were always competitive in price. So they were certainly at the front of our list. As I mentioned, Emily, that we've had several contractors do buildings. Serenus Johnson has done well over half of the on-site buildings now. And during the process that we had interviews, it was going to be, I didn't know at the time, but now it's a design build project. And your team really explained that to us, and they were jumping in right from the beginning, helping us define what we were trying to accomplish, even rather than trying to come up with a purchase order or a project right then. They helped us define what our needs were, which was important to us because we really didn't know. We were still in the funding phase, but when we first started working with Serenus, they put together a nice package for us that gave us an idea of what we might be in for. That I've had many projects, never quite as big as this one. This one did end up being about $100 million. But working with Serenus in particular, my project manager was Joel. They just did a fantastic job holding our hands through the design process. We had utilized teams extensively to minimize travel time and cost, and helped us define the project. They would go back, they would put together the proposals, come back to us, make a presentation. We'd have more dialogue. And I think with most of our projects, they came in at a higher amount than we were prepared for, partly because of business conditions and material costs. But as Joel likes to put it, well, don't worry, we have value engineering, and we would go through and decide what things were important, what things we could change. Could we degrade what type of countertops we have, or maybe by changing the color of the carpeting, we could save some money. So we would actually go through and work together to get to an agreeable price for both of us. I would say the service is very personal. I feel like I know the owner, Bill, personally. I know his boys. They have been at the site. They're regulars here. So it's not like, oh, why haven't I seen Bill in 6 months? I have, can see him anytime I'd like. With our project, of course, it was a larger one. So we had Serenus reps here all the time, and responsiveness was just amazing. And Joel, I have to call him out on this. He was available to me literally 24/7 because I would leave here some nights at 7 or 8 o'clock. When we made a path change, and when I'd go home, I'd still be working. I'd call Joel with questions, and he would fire up his laptop and help me, give me numbers. So it's just responsiveness and the personal attention that our project got. How was it working with the Serenus team? It was just fantastic. We had the on-site people. Joel was our project manager, and I had access to him 24 hours a day. We had an on-site foreman who was Rod Morley, and he was also excellent to work with. He would stop in to see me every morning. It kind of got to be a joke because I'd be at my desk at 7 o'clock. There he is. What can we do for you today? And he'd let me know what was going to go on, and they kept me appraised of the construction process. And then even back to the office, working with Lynn on our billings, and Emily is always willing to assist. So it's just a great team, and they're all willing to help. Nobody says that's not my job, and if it's not, they just say okay, and they find out who it is and still get it done for us. I would wholeheartedly recommend Serenus to anyone that was doing a building, particularly if you are in a design build type situation. They are very accommodating. They're willing to work with you, and we made some pretty drastic changes where they would come back with a proposal for a building, and we said, yeah, that's great, we like this, but it's not going to be for machines now. We're going to put furnaces in it, so it'd be literally starting from ground zero. Never heard a single complaint. It was just, well, when can we get together to go through the guidelines, and then the design process would just start over. So they never made us feel uncomfortable about making changes, or even when we had complaints. Usually, we always work through, and they're so willing to work with us. And on some issues that were caused by code violations, they worked with us on that, and we came to a mutual resolution that both sides were happy with. We are still using Serenus right now. We still are actively constructing our F-15 building and our B and C reactor building, which was a complete renovation. So they're on site still. They still have their presence here. But I will say that we added 3 brand new buildings, including our showpiece admin building, which is a 2-story office building with a showroom in it that just turned out beautiful. But we doubled our footprint in manufacturing space, and we renovated about 40% of what isn't new to accept new machines and just make it a consistent theme throughout. Everything's kind of clean and new. We did a lot of paint, epoxy on the floors. One thing I would also say with Serenus is we did all this while we made 100% production. So they were able to work around our schedule, and it was always them working around us. They understood that production is what was able to pay the bills. So they always worked around that, kept us informed so we could keep our team informed of what was coming on, if they're going to close one of the roads on site, if they had to shut off power to an area, if they were going to block it up because of overhead work. And they always let us know ahead of time. And if we said it doesn't work for us then, when will work for you that we can do it? So they're just so accommodating. I do. I don't personally live in Bay City, but I work here, and I've spent a fair amount of time here. And just traveling through Bay City, I see the Serenus construction sign, or I'll see Serenus trucks at other projects. And some of the ones that I know that they have done have turned out beautiful. I think that them being local, before the bridge was out, you're like 5 minutes away. But they have very good relationships with the subcontractors. They have a very good relationship with the city and the inspectors, so that they work in harmony. There's no surprises. And I also I think it helps control expenses, because if we hire a company from Detroit or from Minnesota or wherever, whether it's explicitly called out, there is going to be additional costs added to it for lodging and travel time.